I think it's obvious that if you're going to do any kind of sketching or art creation in general, having strong drawing skills is an absolute must. But at the same time, I think that drawing is one of those things that really intimidates a lot of people who want to create art. I know that was true for me at one time, and it's something I've heard a lot from other artists or aspiring artists. They'll say things like, well, I'd love to do some sketching, but I can't draw. I can't draw people. I don't have any talent. Whatever's in their head around drawing and what's keeping them from just jumping in and experiencing the joy of creating a little art. And I think that's really sad because I think art creation is something that we're all wired to do. It's not like if you're an artist, you're this special magical person with these secret skills that gives you permission to create art. No, art is a learning path. Drawing is learnable, and it doesn't have to be a struggle. I mean, what if learning how to draw was pleasurable and easy? So if you're one of these people who thinks drawing is going to be hard, or it's keeping you from creating the kind of art you want to create, or you just want to learn to draw better, I have this amazing solution for you. And that is this book, Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain by Betty Edwards. This is the best book on how to draw ever, like ever. And in this video, I'm going to talk about this book and why it's awesome, and what the premise is behind this method and why it works, and how Betty Edwards is going to get you drawing really, really well in a very short period of time. Welcome to my channel. My name is Brett Renee. I'm an artist, and on this channel I talk about all things related to the art creation process. And if you haven't subscribed already and this is something that sounds good to you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and let's get on with the video. This book has been around since 1970. You can see my copy is totally falling apart. And I do recommend, if you can find it, to get the original 1970 edition. It's not that the later editions aren't any good. It's the same basic course, but I feel they made some tweaks to it that didn't really improve upon it. And there's still some of these floating around online and in used bookstores. So if you can find the original, go ahead and get it. I guarantee if you go through this book and do the exercises that she tells you to do, you will get up to speed very quickly. And you'll have this foundation that you can use to develop your skills for the rest of your life. Because it's not like we ever really master drawing, right? We just keep developing. And if you already have some pretty strong skills already, it's fun to go through this and do some of the exercises and just do something a little different, maybe you don't do all the time, and just keep expanding and improving. I found this book about 8 years ago in a thrift store, and I wasn't really doing any artwork at the time. In fact, I wasn't really doing much of anything. My son had just left for college, and I was a new empty nester, and I guess I was just trying to figure out what to do with the rest of my life. And I suppose that seed of wanting to create artwork was just sort of simmering below the surface. So I saw this book sitting on the shelf, and it just sort of called to me. So I picked it up and I started leafing through it, and I'm thinking, do I really want to learn how to draw? But then I thought, well, I could just take it home. It was like $1, who cares? And then a little bit later, I finally picked it up and I started to go through the course. Now, I didn't realize it at the time, but this is really considered the Mac Daddy of drawing books. Like, if you ask any art teacher worth their salt, what book should I get to learn how to draw? They're going to say, go get this book. And I've gone through a few other books and tried some other methods, and they're okay. Like, I've definitely learned some things, but I keep coming back to this because it works. It's simple. And what I love about it is, it's not so much that Betty Edwards teaches you how to draw, although there's plenty of bones in here, believe me. But she teaches you how to see, and that's really the key to everything. Let's talk about the premise behind this book. I want to read you this quote, and I promise I'm not going to read a lot of the book. In fact, I'd probably be violating some sort of YouTube copyright laws if I did that, but I did just want to share this one thing. So she says, drawing is a teachable, learnable skill which can provide a twofold advantage. By gaining access to the part of your mind that works in a style conducive to creative, intuitive thought, you will learn a fundamental skill of the visual arts, how to put down on paper what you see in front of your eyes. And she goes on to explain that the course is designed not to teach you how to draw, but instead to teach you to give you access to skills that you already have and are just waiting to be released. Now that's a very different focus from learning how to draw. Like, anybody who could draw could teach you how to draw. Like, if say you wanted to learn how to draw a dog and someone knew how to draw a dog. So they would say, okay, you can use, it's this big, this is the torso, and you want this section to be the legs, and this would be the head, and you could put the nose here and a couple paws. And if you practice this, over time, you'd probably draw a pretty decent dog. But that's not what she's doing here. What she's doing is saying, I'm not going to teach you how to draw that dog. Instead, I am going to teach you to see that dog exactly as it is. And then you're going to take a skill that you already have, which is to take a pencil and run it across a piece of paper, something anybody can do. And you're going to look at that dog and you're going to see it in terms of shapes and shadows and everything. And you're just going to move the pencil across the paper exactly as you see it. And what happens is when you do this, what you get is something that is unique to you in your own style and impression. It's not cookie cutter. And it also really frees you up because then you can just draw anything. You don't have to spend time learning how to draw dogs and buildings and flowers. You can just draw whatever you want as long as you can accurately see it. The next thing she goes on to talk about are the differences between the left hemisphere of the brain and the right hemisphere, and how drawing is very much a right hemisphere activity. In fact, it actually requires it. And if you think about it, our society, and especially our school system, are very left hemisphere oriented, right? We're very structured, organized, and we're told to be on time and get good grades and sit in rows and all those things. But art is the complete opposite of that. Art is completely right hemisphere. Art is out of time, it's intuitive, it's holistic, it's nonverbal. And so every exercise that she teaches first teaches you how to shift into the right hemisphere of the brain and do the drawing from there. And it's so true. If you just surrender and do this, you will have all these abilities that are released and you will progress much faster. At the beginning of the book, and this is really a lot of fun, she asks you to make 4 drawings. So all you need for this course is a 9x12 sketchbook and a number 2 pencil. And so what she asks you to do first is to make these 4 drawings that you're going to put in the back of the sketchbook, and you're going to date them. You're just going to use them as a reference to see how far you progress. So she asks you to draw a person, but not looking at anybody, just somebody from memory. To draw a person actually looking at them like a model, or you can just use your own face in the mirror. She asks you to draw a chair and to draw a hand. And so then you just put these away, and the idea is you're not going to look at them again until you've completed the course. And one of the most fascinating things in this book is that she has included before and after drawings from some of her students. And those first drawings that they did in the back of their book, they're really crude stick figures and everything's out of proportion. They have big eyes and stuff. And then you see these drawings they did not even 2 months later, and they're professional level illustrations with shading, and I mean just beautiful, amazing, realistic drawings. And I remember looking at this going, wow, that's really cool, but I'm sure I'm not going to progress like that. These must just be the best students. But then I actually did make a lot of progress. And I wish I had my beginning drawings to show you. Unfortunately, I no longer have this journal, but they were something like this. They were just, really rinky-dink drawings. They had no skill. And then I actually do have a few of the drawings that I did not even a month later. I guess I tore them out of the sketchbook and kept them. It's amazing I have everything. I have moved so much in 8 years. But I do have these 3 drawings to show you. One of them I have is this chair. And then this is one I did of my kitchen. And then this is of a guy that was just in my neighborhood. So, I mean, it was just huge progress. I guess my point is that if you do what she says, you are going to progress really quickly. One of the coolest things about this whole process, and I think I've already touched on this, is that you're not just drawing differently, you're seeing things differently. You're seeing things like an artist. And once you start seeing that way, there's no going back. The world looks totally different. I mean, it just becomes miraculous to look at things. You're no longer just getting these symbolic representations in your brain and just passing things by. Now, everything is just shape and texture and light and dark. I mean, I don't know about anyone else. I find this really exciting. It's just incredible to be able to look at things in a very direct and present moment way. And that's what creating art is all about. One last thing I wanted to talk about that I think is really valuable in this book had to do with the section on proportion. And in that section, she's basically teaching you how to draw the face. There's really this perception out there, even from really skilled artists, that drawing a person is much more difficult than, say, drawing a building. And that's really not true. What is more difficult is accurately seeing a person than accurately seeing a building. Like when you see a building, it's just a building. But a person, has a personality and they have emotions, and we experience them on so many different levels. Like we feel them and we sense their energy. We're not just looking at their lines and their shadows. So in this chapter, she gives you some very solid rules about where things are on the face so that you can just relax about that and then just shift into your right hemisphere and just draw what you see. Like for instance, she talks about how like the corner of the eye is directly in a line above the corner of the mouth. And that's pretty much true on any human being, unless I guess you're drawing someone who's been through some sort of unfortunate Joker from Batman accident. But other than that, it's pretty much true. So if you learn these things, you can just relax and just draw what you see. And you may not want to do very advanced portrait drawing or very detailed or realistic, and that's okay. Maybe you're a sketcher, you just want to do gestural drawing, but I just think why not learn how to do it, because you're going to find out it's not as hard as you thought, and then it's just another tool in your bag, and then everything is just going to be open and easy to you. If you've gotten this far in the video, I assume you're interested in working with this method, and I just want to encourage you, yes, go get a copy of this book, do the course, and just watch how much you improve. It's a lot of fun. I mean, this method's been around, God, this book's 55 years old and it's still relevant. So definitely give it a try. I'd like to thank you for watching today. If you enjoyed this video, you learned something, please consider giving it a like or leave a comment. I mean, if you've worked with this method or some other method that's worked for you, I'm sure other people would love to hear about that. I know I would. So definitely leave a comment and go make some art. And I will see you next week.